What is going down, everyone? It's time for Mojobreak.com, The Hype. Episode 272. We are live on eBay Live this Friday. If you're tuning into this show on Thursday, check us out 5 p.m. Pacific on the eBay Live app. Picture Home Shopping Network, Picture the Hype podcast, all mixed into one. We've got some deals that are going to be fantastic, guys. Up to 70% off on wax boxes. We've got Messi jersey, Ronaldo jersey for sale. We've got Derek Jeter 101. So there's going to be some crazy stuff going down. We got factory sets. We'll have those as well. I know Dan's very excited about that, paying tribute to the late great Don West. So check us out on eBay Live as we do this at 5 p.m. Pacific on Friday, and it's fun. Even if you don't buy anything, just tune in for the craziness. Tune in for the comments. Get your popcorn ready. But on this show, we're going to discuss the NFL playoffs. We're going to do a little buy or sell on some of the teams that are in the playoffs and some of the stars on those teams. We also got this week in the hobby. We got some new releases. We've got NT baseball, we got Spectra football, we got Hoops NBA. Fanatics doesn't want any more NFTs. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about the year-end grading report with the major online graders, and I think the numbering, the numbers that we're going to give you guys are a little staggering. So, who you guys got for the Super Bowl? C-Rad, who's winning the Super Bowl this year?
Buffalo Bills.
Bills. Dan.
Buffalo Bills.
Wow. C-Rad.
That's Cody.
I mean,
that's Cody.
Jesus Christ.
Buffalo
Edit
Bills.
that out. Edit my mouth. I looked right at Cody, and I didn't see that. I'm sorry.
Look, it happens.
Hey, Frank. We should just go all show and just randomly just call people's names out that are completely wrong.
I wish I could blame it on the hippie lettuce, but I can't.
No, nothing. It's hey, look, it's the beginning of the year. It's we're all in a fog still. So the rain, quite literally, we're in a fog. It's wet. It's too much.
We're still in a drought.
Yeah, we're still in a drought.
We're still in a drought.
But we need it, guys. But we need it. Okay.
Yeah. So, Cody, after you give your pick, I have a quick question after you do your pick for
Chargers. He's going Chargers, right?
Not going Chargers.
Oh, man.
I'm being biased. I have to say 49ers because
of course
I'm going to say
you guys have the easiest. I'll say you guys have the easiest road to the Super Bowl ever.
No, besides playing in the rain on a Saturday.
In the rain.
Yeah, I can't.
In the rain.
How do you make the second seed?
Maybe you should get like SoFi. Maybe we should put a roof on it.
How does the second seed play on a Saturday?
Think you guys can get a roof constructed by Saturday?
If Packers would have made it, you guys would have played on Monday night, a primetime game.
Oh, is that what they said?
Yeah. It was. I don't know if I should say this, but
you heard a rumor.
I heard a rumor. If the Packers had made it through, you guys would have been playing on Monday night against the Packers.
Okay. Which I guess it's better to have a longer week going into the second round than it would be a shorter week going into the second round, right? So
I was in Seattle on Sunday, and I was able to see Seattle Seahawks in person against the Rams, who were playing for nothing.
Fun game.
Yeah, it was a good game. It was fun. It was a fun game. With their must-win game for the Seahawks, their season on the line, not knowing what was going to happen to the Lions-Packers, they barely squeaked by the Rams. I'm gonna regret. They have no chance against the Niners.
Ooh, jeez.
They're 10-point dogs. I mean,
there would have to be some ridiculous luck to go down.
Epic collapse from the Niners.
38-10 is what I'm saying that the Niners are. It's you want to talk about the easy. Now it's not going to be as easy the next week.
They play either the Vikings or Giants.
Oh, they play the
easy mode.
Yeah, but
we won't play the Giants. There's no way.
Oh yeah, okay, not the Giants. But if the Vikings win, you guys play the Vikings.
Yes, Vikings will play the Vikings. If the Giants win, we'll play either the Cowboys or Bucks.
Okay. So, Cowboys could be tough, depending on what Cowboys team.
A lot of people think they're gonna lose to the Bucks.
Minnesota, they still have a lot of talent on their team.
They do.
I think that's easy mode for the Niners.
I know Kirk Cousins, but maybe he does figure it out. Maybe when the lights are shining on him, he's like all of a sudden he's like, this is it.
I know they've won. Yeah, finally he figures it out. The one time he's getting prime time is in the playoffs. Look, I know that they're an easy one to pick on because they've won so many close games, but where you can say, it could have gone either way. They could have been a 4-win team, not a 3, whatever it is. But I think it also shows that
they're resilient.
you gotta finish.
course.
You gotta
They were down 33-0.
Yeah,
I mean, granted, it was the
yeah.
Colts, but they came back and won. That
I
game.
give
I mean,
them
but
credit.
was that game on the Vikings, or was that like a total meltdown on the Colts?
Yeah.
that was a Colts meltdown.
Yeah, Colts meltdown.
I all the Minnesota fans don't go crazy. Like, you guys, the Vikings have shown that they can close out games. They can clutch out these games a lot during the season. But in terms of quality opponents, I'm still not impressed. I think the Niners beat them easily.
Well,
They did beat the Bills.
They're going to need their line to play out their life, because you look at when they played the Cowboys where they get beat 40 to something, and it was just like, I think Kirk Cousins got hit like 9 or 10 times.
Yeah.
So like, you play a team like the Niners or the Cowboys in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I feel
Cousins
like you don't
under
have a chance.
pressure, statistically, if you look at him under pressure, worst quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, the team
I
that's
don't
going to have the
disagree.
best chance at beating the Niners is the team that's going to be able to stretch with long pass plays.
Yeah, I mean, so you do have Justin Jefferson.
And that could open up the running game. I mean, the Vikings I don't think are going to be as easy as the Seahawks.
No, what we're doing here is we're discrediting the Niners.
I mean, I know I want them all to beat the Niners. Like, I want everybody.
Of course.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not going into Saturday going, I'm looking for a Niners win. I mean, I'm being realistic.
The easiest argument against them right now is you never want to play the same opponent 3 times, especially if you beat them the first 2 times.
Oh,
we saw what happened last year.
Well, yeah, we can talk about it.
That's all I'll say.
No, I mean, let's.
I don't. This is different.
The listeners may not remember
This, yes.
so we should probably run it back.
Yes.
No, I didn't
Look,
remember
that
that.
Rams team far more talented than the Seattle Seahawks team.
Yeah, you can say that again.
Yeah, there. Yeah, go. I
mean, they won the Super Bowl, Cody.
You can hit that little rewind button on your phone if you want to hear it again. I'm not repeating it. But
It's actually in my brain forever. It's actually looping in my brain right now. That's all I'm hearing.
the Seahawks team is not
Yeah.
the Rams, so it's.
I'm the opposite of Dan. Like, I actually do think the Niners are gonna get to the Super Bowl, but I'm trying to discredit their road to the Super Bowl. That's how.
Oh, you're going the full that Warriors championship. Kawhi was hurt, and then they got Kyrie was hurt. So
that's
it doesn't
different.
count.
That's injury. That's injury. I'm talking about quality of opponents.
I don't disagree with
No.
Quality of opponents.
playoff
I wish the
football.
Niners were in the AFC.
No, I'm
Playoff
saying,
football, I don't get. It doesn't matter if you're in the NFC or AFC.
No, it doesn't matter.
It is tough to get to the Super Bowl.
it is, but I
It's
would
also
say
tough to win, right, Niner fans?
I was gonna say.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. You're
If
right.
I had to pick 4 teams, top 4 teams right now, and we got our playoff segment, so we're gonna get to more football here later in the show. If I had to pick the top 4 teams right now, 3 of them would be in the AFC.
Yeah, exactly.
So 3 of them would be in the AFC. If I had to rank 1 through 4, 3 of them would be in the AFC.
Chiefs, Bills, Bengals.
Yes.
I know
Yeah.
I know the Eagles fell off here without Jalen Hurts, but they now do have Jalen Hurts.
Eagles is the
So,
best team in the NFC besides the Niners. I feel like.
I think the Niners
But
can beat them. But
consensus.
would you guys be completely blown away if Dallas makes a run?
No.
Dallas have the talent on that team.
they will either make a run and potentially make the Super Bowl, or they will lose 40-3
I don't
in the
think
first round.
I don't think they can string 4 great games together.
Does Dak redeem himself against the Niners?
No.
Dude, this is it right
No.
here. This playoff for the Cowboys, and you guys have heard me say this on the podcast all season. I feel like Cowboys is one of those teams that play down to their opponents. So that's why their losses look really particularly bad, because it's like, why was that game even close,
Yeah.
right? So this is their chance to prove a lot of people wrong. And you're right, they have all the talent in the world, offensively and defensively. They're the only team defensively that I think can hang with the 49ers. But will they put it all together 4 straight games? Is the question. That's a
Right.
big question mark for the Dallas Cowboys.
I'm calling it right now. If the Cowboys lose in the first round, we're gonna see, because this connected to the national championship game that we had on Monday. Stetson Bennett, 25-year-old rookie next year. Where's he even gonna go in the draft? And I could see
undrafted.
he may go undrafted.
Undrafted.
But see, to me, it reminds me of the Tebow argument where everyone's like, nah, he's not right. He's not going to work in the NFL. But I think there's going to be a team that goes, but he's a winner. And I could see Jerry Jones
Get back to
going,
glory.
let's
That was-
get that young man from
that was the
Georgia.
best-
Let's put him
that
on the
was the
team,
best
light a
scenario
fire
for for
on the
Stetson
deck.
Bennett on Monday, dude.
That wasn't even. What even happened? I didn't even watch the game. I just kept seeing
terrible.
It was a route.
I was like,
a
what
route.
are we doing?
TCU
How
couldn't-
Isn't he like 5'10" or
Yes.
6 foot?
No, again, he shouldn't. He will not probably be a good starting quarterback in the NFL, but there will be someone who's compelled because it's going to be the Tebow thing where it's
Yeah.
like, but he's a leader and he's a winner, so it's going to work. And I don't know, maybe.
Okay, so unrelated. Before we move on, going back to my original thought when we first started the podcast, when you called him Frank, let me ask you guys a question: Is Frank the like name that is just like the most common to use in a workplace if you don't know somebody's name?
John to me.
Frank,
John.
'Cause
Yeah.
I-
John Doe. Yeah.
Yeah,
Frank,
John.
Bob,
Bob.
I have a friend.
Henry.
He has a job,
name is
office,
Frank John?
a corporate job, office job, and he's been with the company for almost a decade. His coworkers still call him Frank, and that is not his name in email.
Does he correct them?
No, and I'm like, why haven't you correct them? Maybe he has.
How long has he been there?
Almost 10 years.
Oh, just let it go. Just
You're
at
Frank
that
now.
point.
He's Frank now.
At that point, embrace it. You might want to legally go get his
Yeah,
name
yeah,
changed to Frank.
Exactly. Exactly. Let me be Frank.
I'm like, bro, how you
Because
even let them
imagine
go
having
with
that
it.
conversation after a decade, and you're like,
But are they? I feel like
you're all having a
beer.
beer after work, and you're just like,
Is his
you
name-
know,
is
you
his
know,
name
my
close
name's
to
not
Frank?
Frank, right?
His name is Mark. And, okay,
Wow.
Okay. And and your letterhead, in the letterhead of your email, and I'm not trying to bust you out, Mark, here if you're listening, but in
Shout out to Mark.
the letterhead in his
Frank.
email, it says his name. It says Mark.
Okay, so this is clearly an in joke. It's got to be.
Yeah,
Like,
they're
there's
just
no-
like
if
they're
it's
all
in
you
the
kind of
email,
look like a Frank.
This is a tech company too.
Then it's an in. There's some sort of in joke, unless
gotta be.
although I don't know, maybe they're working from home a lot, so maybe it's like they're genuinely
decade?
don't know. Yeah, well that's true.
So when you called him Frank, I thought that was
that his middle
hilarious. No,
No.
Mark Frank.
no,
nope, nothing. Francis.
nope.
Well, I feel bad. Like I don't know about you guys, but like say you meet somebody like 4 or 5 times, and then you like don't remember their name, and then you
I do
meet,
feel- I
and they
feel
say,
super bad
"Hey,
about
hey,
that.
Doug," and you're like, and
Hey,
you
man.
can't ask their name
I
because
feel
then you're
super
like,
bad.
Hey,
about that.
guy.
Yeah, you're like, hey.
Dude, give him one of those.
Hey.
Oh, the best is when you meet someone in public and you haven't seen them in a few years. Like you went, I don't know, you went to school with them, you went to college or high school, whatever it is, and they're like, hey, they say your name, Cody, what's up, man? I go, dude,
Yeah.
what's up?
Dude's a good
Don't know who
go-to.
you are.
I call everybody dude.
Yeah,
So
that's
Yeah.
the go ahead. It makes
But
them feel good too.
You're like, hey, did you take one of those driver's license photos? It's a little weird. You want to show me to see if the photo came
Gonna need-
out?
yeah.
You can do that.
For every interaction, gonna need to
later
see
on-
photo ID before
Yeah,
we
yeah.
interact here.
Or you want to add me on Facebook? Doug. Yeah. Oh, okay.
yeah, I mean, getting back to I guess we can just wrap up the football segment. So, Cody, you're gonna
Oh, yeah,
homer,
we didn't
you're
get
gonna
Doug's pick.
you're gonna homer it up and go Niners.
Look, I'm sticking with my original Super Bowl pick, which is still possible. Chargers.
You can't even
Niners.
say it.
I can't even say it.
Oh, God.
I was gonna say Bolts.
Can't
Look,
even say it.
they're getting healthy
is
at the
back.
right time. They got
Also back.
He's been back.
he's back.
So,
He's
been back.
they're drastically improved on defense. Like ever since he's been back, teams have been scoring 10 points less.
Wow.
Since he's been back, and I'm so glad you talked about the Chargers.
I would love to play the Chargers.
Their coach, and I've said this on podcasts before, has to be one of the dumbest
yeah.
coaches in the NFL.
We knew that last year. with
Wait,
that whole debacle.
wait. It's off the Sean McVay tree.
Whoa. Does
Brandon Staley, huh?
does Sean McVay, I've said this, like, I really wonder how many points he's left on the table this year, like, or his whole coaching career, by like going for it on 4th down for like every single play. It doesn't even matter where they are on the field.
Oh, I mean, him and Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
And then the cherry on top was him playing his starters this weekend, and then Mike Williams got injured, and a game that they didn't need to win because
Yeah,
they were locked into the
they
6th
already
seed.
locked into.
So
6.
he had his starters play the whole game. Now, like, he could have had his starters play like half the game,
First
like the
half.
Buccaneers.
Yeah,
Like,
why did he pull out Justin Herbert when they're down by 10, like in the 3rd quarter, like the end of the 3rd quarter? That didn't
he
make
played.
sense.
Herbert played 90% of the game, dude.
Yeah, it's like stupid. It didn't make any sense because nothing could have happened to that game, right?
Yeah, I think though there is that,
And that's the
again,
guy that you think is going to coach them to the Super Bowl.
Look, It won't be that. It'll be led by those
how hurt is
beautiful
Mike
golden
Williams?
locks and Justin Herbert leading the way.
So we do have a buy-sell segment, but yeah, you guys want obviously. I'm picking Niners. I hope that if the Niners do make it, we do play the Bills, because if we play the Chiefs again, the 2 weeks heading up to the Super Bowl, we'll just I'll have a lot of anxiety, and I'll already write off that we're going to
longest
lose.
2 weeks ever.
I just do not want. I do not want Patrick Mahomes.
Is there any chance that Jimmy Garoppolo could take a snapper or two
if
or
Brock
play in a
gets
game?
hurt?
No, I mean, is there a chance?
Snapper?
Let's say the Niners offense looks terrible and they barely squeak by Seattle. Is there an internal conversation?
No.
Hey, Jimmy Garoppolo gives us a best chance to win.
Not at all.
If Brock Purdy plays like he did against Seattle.
He's got to look real bad. He's got to look really
Well,
bad.
and then we're out anyway. So if a win's a win, then it doesn't matter. It's his.
I don't know. Not if like we're like, man, we would have won that game, but
only way
we were up by 4 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, and Brock Purdy threw 3 pick sixes.
No, they wouldn't be throwing. Shanahan's offense ain't gonna be throwing the ball when it's by 4 touchdowns.
No, they'll throw it. They'll throw it like
the only way it
6
happens
inches
is
to
if we're
Christian
down.
McCaffrey.
If we're down by 3 touchdowns in the third quarter, and he goes, "I'm putting in Jimmy," and then Jimmy wins the game. That's the only way it would happen. That's the only way it happens.
That's true. Yeah.
That's the only way I see it. But let's get into this week in the hobby. We've got some new releases. And we've got NT baseball, which I broke some myself this morning. We got hoops basketball, which is the first NBA uniform rookie of the 2022-2023 rookie
Finally.
class. and
Literally just hit the halfway mark of the NBA season, by the way.
yes, I know, that's why we laughed here. And we've got my boy Josh Allen here with Spectra. And yes, Brock Purdy is in Spectra, which is good news. C-Rad, tell us about breaking these over on Mojobreak.com and why are you excited for these and what stands out?
Well, I do look forward to opening up hoops every year in October. But here we are in January.
We should just let's break out the Halloween decorations to get in the spirit.
Listen. I'm happy to open.
If you put it that way, October, November, we're only three months behind.
Only 3 months.
Not too bad.
3 months.
I am happy to open up a product that has these guys in their first NBA uniforms. The Chronicles draft has been actually surprisingly really good for a collegiate product. Way better than last year's product. But here we are. We finally got the first NBA release. I'm excited. Curry's on the checklist, so that's always a good thing for these low end sets. And it looks like it's a really great price at this point. We're still not as low as what it used to be. 4 years ago.
Yeah, but I think we're retailing around what, 130.
Yeah, so great price for a chance at like these first guys like Mathurin and Banchero. But hoops, cool. Hopefully this means we're going to get a steady release of 21, 22, or 22, 23 basketball.
We should have Prism by now. We should, right?
Yes, and good news.
Well, at least that, yeah. But Prism should be almost here, I feel.
Should be.
Yeah, should be.
But we're probably not going to get it till summer.
Right.
But good news, I think, is that Prism draft won't be coming out as late as it did last year, which is a plus, because if you guys remember last year, Prism draft came out right before the playoffs started, if I recall, and nobody wants Prism draft.
No.
At the end of the season,
You gotta get all the draft. You gotta get all the draft products out early.
Yeah.
I think we know this.
Yeah, I mean, you could kind of get away with it in football, maybe, because I think there's a bigger following for college sports with football.
But you don't
with basketball.
But you don't see it in football.
Yeah, you don't see it in much but it happened in basketball last year for whatever reason. It happened in basketball last year. So hoops is going to be a good low end set, great for personal rips if you guys want to grab some boxes. Mojobreak shop. But NT Flawless baseball is coming out. NT this week, Flawless next week, which are pretty good Panini high-end baseball products. Those are pretty much, I would say, for the most part, with the better rookie class with Julio this year, that's obviously a better chase this year in those sets. But they're pretty standard in terms of Panini baseball. They are the most sought-after Panini baseball products if you guys want to get any high-end Panini baseball. But then Spectra is the one I'm really excited about because that really is a staple. I've loved Spectra ever since they changed it and gave it the unique identity of having like the more bright colors and the neon colors and stuff. And it's always just a fun product to rip and to look at. It's always something different every time you're opening up, which you love as a collector and as a just somebody who opens.
I feel that way
packs
with
all day.
NT too. NT baseball. I know we don't have the license, but what I was telling everybody with NT baseball today is that, if this was a licensed product, it would probably be 4 times the price. So you're getting the value. There's more bat knobs and bat plates this year, and at like $5.99 a box, like I said, if the same value with Topps, you had to throw the license on there, it'd probably be a $1,600, $1,700, $1,800 box.
That's true.
So, but yeah, those two products are like really breakers' dreams when you talk about it, because I think Spectra combines the best of. Like, it has all the colors.
It's like shiny.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got the vinyls, you have the nebulas, you've got the die cuts.
I mean, it's a premium product that is got that like eye appeal to it, right?
Yep, exactly.
And it's not, and again, like a lot of the shiny colors and the highlighters and stuff, like not for everybody.
Yeah, it's not.
But I mean, I would say the general consensus is that the football collector and the basketball collector, when it comes out for their categories, they tend to like it.
And like you said, it's not for everybody, but that that uniqueness, it really makes that product Spectra stand out amongst all the other products that we see throughout the year. So
yeah, it definitely is unique, and you can get all these releases at Mojobreak.com if you want to buy a team, if you want to get into a random. So there's lots of opportunities that's going to be breaking throughout the weekend. We've got the regular release of Spectra on Friday, but we're already doing first off the line starting with tonight, so we'll see what big hits come out of those. Brock Purdy is in the set, so that's awesome. And then, they do a great job with vets and one-on-ones and shields and stuff like that, so we'll see some of those popping out. Cody, which I remembered your name this time. So
thank you, Frank. I'll be Frank. It's fine.
Frank.
Hey, Frank.
I'll be frank with you, Frank. What's this? Fanatics doesn't want candy, and I can't think about. The only thing I can think is I want candy.
Yeah, Fanatics.
You're playing on that.
Yeah, exactly. You got it. Fanatics doesn't want candy. Is what we're saying.
Out of the ring pop game.
Well, not quite. Not quite. Still, ring pop's still a thing. Okay. Don't worry, Bazooka Joe fans.
Still money makers over there.
That's right. Bazooka Joe fans, you're fine. The Bazooka Joe movie, TBA, don't know when it's happening.
Bazooka Joe gun. When's the last time you guys got some of that?
Nah, it's been a while.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about starting up my new ASMR channel with it.
Dude,
there's actually a breaker.
Knew it would come up.
I'll have to show you the video.
We should do the hype. AMSR.
I can see that being satisfying.
Is that what it is?
No,
again, and we were. What was the acronym again? Audio stimulant.
I'd have to look it up. Yeah, I'd have to.
I admit, I am not an ASMR guy, but I have seen videos of people doing it with the food. I've seen people doing it with opening up like electronics. People like opening up just packages, weird packages and stuff. And yeah, I can see how people are into it.
Whoa! When you say food, you mean
like you just
well, that's how it got started.
That's disgusting.
It's I want to say
the whispering thing, fine, but eating like an In-N-Out double on camera, oh God, on mic. Just
it's like different crunch sounds.
Yeah, different crunch sounds. The way,
but you're not actually watching the person eat. You're just you're hearing it.
Watching and listening.
Watching and listening.
Yeah.
Mainly listening though. That's the whole point of this the whole.
It's funny because right before we went on air, I said to C-Rad, I was like, I'm going to commit the cardinal podcasting sin. I'm still eating my lunch. I'm like, I'm going to have to eat lunch on mic. That is the number one sin of podcasting.
Get some comments are like, I hear Cody eating back there.
Can we get more?
Can we get more?
Can you make sure?
You may can we get like a 3 to 4 minute segment of just maybe you guys eating?
Hey, if you're the owner of Chipotle listening to our podcast and it gets me a lifetime Chipotle card to eat Chipotle every podcast on mic, then hey, I guess it was all worth it.
That doesn't sound healthy.
This person was breaking.
Don't worry, I'll just get the brown rice every time.
The healthy rice.
That's right.
The healthy rice.
I think if you in terms of fast food, if it's Chipotle, it's supposedly like the most healthiest.
I mean, if I just went with like the veggies and like vegan, protein.
Okay, sodium. So like salt.
Sure.
Salt is bad for you.
Salt's not good.
And all that food is just loaded up. The reason why it tastes good is because there's a crap ton of salt in it.
That's right. Well, they were cooking with the bacon fat too for a long time.
They come out tomorrow and say sodium's good.
No, I don't think they will. I think it's tried and true. It's been bad for you.
Remember they used to say like, don't eat the egg yellows because that's not good. And
those are yolks.
Yeah.
Well.
That's still a thing.
Only eat the egg whites,
Right.
you know, but then they're like, no, now you need the egg yolks because it provides the.
I think it's still
blah,
pretty
blah,
much
blah.
across the board that egg white's healthier than
A little
the yolk.
healthier, maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
how many eggs are a healthy amount to eat? Like a week?
no,
Do we know?
a whole dozen.
A whole, like a dozen?
Just eat a dozen carton of
I mean,
eggs
you
every
can't
week.
go Paul Newman every day, but
like a-
you know,
Oh.
I like a dozen omelet, egg, white.
how many eggs?
Hey, look! If it's good enough for Rocky,
I would
if it's good enough for Gaston, he eats, I believe,
And I'm
5
gonna
dozen
guess,
eggs.
I'm gonna guess two eggs a day.
2 eggs a day.
2 eggs
That's
a day.
fine.
3 whole eggs a day are perfectly safe for healthy people.
Yeah. I think that's a perfectly
eggs a day.
part of it. It's one of those things you'd see on, like, when you're a kid and you see, like, the most sugary cereal you've ever seen, but then it says part of a balanced breakfast with, like, eggs and oranges.
Oh.
And you're like, well, it must be healthy.
Oh yeah, I mean,
It's part of a balanced breakfast.
That's why people just get the the hard boiled and just
Yeah.
eat it like that's my lunch.
I do like that. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
A little salt on it.
So,
candy.
candy, not healthy for you, but that's not what we're talking about.
Oh, I think. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Man. Okay. Now we're back on
We brought
track.
it back. We brought it back. Candy Digital. This is the company that became the official NFT of Major League Baseball. They kind of came onto the scene. I think they had an exclusive Lou Gehrig NFT that was a pretty big deal. Fanatics, which was invested in them, they divested their 60% share from the company. Michael Rubin came out. The Fanatics themselves have not confirmed anything, but Michael Rubin has basically come out and said, yeah, no, we're out of there. Quote, divesting our ownership stake at this time allowed us to ensure investors were able to recoup most of their investment via cash or additional shares in Fanatics, a favorable outcome for investors, especially in an imploding NFT market that has seen a precipitous drop in both transaction volumes and prices for standalone NFTs. He continues, over the past year, it has become clear that NFTs are unlikely to be sustainable or profitable as a standalone business. Aside from physical collectibles, driving 99% of the business, in this case trading cards, we believe digital products will have more value and utility when connected to physical collectibles to create the best experience for collectors.
I mean, C-Rat, are you still on the NFT train?
Yes, because
He said implode, not explode.
Yeah, because everything
It
he
was an
said,
implode.
everything he said from that whatever his statement was, I agree with. And going back to my God and Savior Gary Vee, he did tell us that 99% of NFTs were gonna fail, and I believed him. And he's true.
You get really lucky.
I just need to get Vegas Dave on the phone. What does he think? I need his take.
All right.
Yeah, Vegas Dave is a whole nother story. He gives me nothing of value in life.
That's funny. He's like, he's my savior.
I know. How's his Derek
just-
Carr collection looking now?
Yeah, he just held hostage all the best Derek Carr cards. That's all I look at Vegas Dave as.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was the NFT was one of those things that we were all stuck at home, forced to be at home, never to see the sun. That we had to find things to do, and this was something that was cool. And I don't want to say that it's going to completely be failure, but it definitely is. There's been a huge drop off, and good for Michael Rubin for giving the investors their money back.
Yeah, 'cause
before it goes lower.
I think NFTs. They became pop culture too fast. Like, I think they needed a slow, steady rise, like very underground, and then just slowly getting more into pop culture. It just seemed like
Bitcoin.
overnight, it was like NFTs are this thing that nobody knows about. Now everybody is doing NFTs.
Yeah, you're right.
It just seemed like it was too easy
because it's
to get into that
it's
space.
easy to make it.
Like,
you don't have to have anything to
when
print or nothing.
like
You guys are right.
when Macy's is, I've already said, when Macy's is like giving away free NFTs and people are just like getting them and they're selling them on OpenSea for $2,000. Like,
Yeah.
It was too much too fast, and there was a pretty sizable backlash when there were people exposing, like, here's how they make them, and it basically takes up the amount of energy of like a small country to make NFTs. I know some of that, there are some places that are going, wait, we've done a lot of work to make sure that's not happening anymore, and in the future it won't happen. But I think that to me was kind of like the start of like, okay, there's something that
well, and then
doesn't
you have the
sit
people
quite
who
right
like were
with me.
never going to get on board, right? You had the people
Yeah.
who are like, I have no value in a JPEG.
Let me right click this and now I own it. you know?
there's no value in this for me because it's just a picture of something. I could, there was always going to be those people.
Of course.
But it's funny that you mentioned Gary V, because I feel like we look back on V Friends now,
which is still a popular thing.
But I feel like he just trolled the whole industry, because if you go back to Cody's take on it, and he was just literally like, I think he barfed in his mouth when he saw the pictures of a stick figure person, and then it's selling for, what was it, $3,000 or $4,000 a box, and it was like literally drawings that my daughter could do better than. And what was it, like happy hippopotamus,
a lot of funny business going on
fun
there.
fish and eager elephant or something. I mean, like, it was literally like he created it in 20 minutes, put it out there, and then everybody that followed him just ate it up. And it was like, kind of like, I think in the inside he was like, ha ha ha, this is gonna fail, and I just did like the most simplest type of NFT possible, and you guys all bought it.
Well, I mean, I don't want to go super deep in this podcast about V Friends, because it's still, one, it's still a popular thing that's going on. Two, he's building it out. I don't know if you heard about this. I'll just quickly expand upon it. Those characters are IPs and brands that he wants to build out in the long term. Like, he wants to be the Disney. He wants them to be like Disney characters down the line. That's so all those characters. So, like, he drew it himself for the first round, obviously, because like people are like, okay, Gary V, you drew it out. And then he had actual artists create the characters and what. Now he's making plushes,
So Gary
toys.
V wants to be the modern day Walt Disney?
No, his characters. He wants them. So his principles, his business principle, life principles, the way he has been successful as an entrepreneur, all these characters make up all the different things that make up
He's sort of he's basically reverse engineering like the Disney story of like, oh, if you bought the V Friends, the original one, it's essentially like you bought that little napkin that Walt Disney drew Mickey Mouse on in the train.
That is part of it. That is part of it.
It's a bold strategy. I'll give him
that's
that.
part of it. But now, if you look at all of the things that they're coming out with V Friends in terms of their characters, they're all actually like they don't look like his original drawings. They're the animated versions now.
I mean, like, be the bigger person.
Yeah.
And that's on V Friends' website live.
Okay, but that's series 1. I'm talking about series 2 now. Now these are all fully fleshed out characters that were drawn by actual artists.
I remember seeing the next one.
Yeah, the V Friends series 2 are the ones where they're actually fleshed out characters drawn by actual artists, and they don't look like just like a person who has no art background. You know what I'm saying? But
you can make it. I mean, what you were just showing me over there with the stick figure, that's
like the character itself.
I'm more agreeing with Doug that he kind of just was like, I'm gonna troll you guys. I'm gonna troll everybody.
I don't think he's not trolling. He's not trolling though.
I think there's a little bit of hubris here, though, that if that's really what he's doing, I think it's very much like he's thinking his S don't stink.
He's all, the idea is what matters. It's not the art.
Yeah, it's for the series 1. Because he wanted just to get those.
And the utilities, I mean, obviously he had a big enough name that people want to hang out with him. So, like, being able to, like, I'm looking at these ones called FaceTime 5.
Yeah.
You pull a FaceTime 5, you get to spend 5 minutes on FaceTime.
A lot of those ones have utilities like that. And then not only that, there's characters where you get 4 years to go to the VCon event.
The missions, right?
Right.
Yeah,
and so it's like a free event where all these influencers and business people come and give speeches and seminars and all that stuff.
Workout Wolf is you get to spend 1 hour per year training with Gary V and his trainer. 1 hour per year. But Gary's obviously in probably more shape than I am.
So
he don't look like he's not.
No, yeah, of course not. But he's probably. The point is, like, back to the NFT candy thing. It seems like, first of all, they wanted to get out of it, right? Because the NFTs in general is a failing business, and they wanted to just be able to give their investors back some money without it being like down to zero, and they're not going to be able to give their investors any money, right? And then if you read this statement, he says that he still believes in them, the utility. Right, he says, I still believe in the utility of NFTs, but he wants to combine that with the physical aspect, like kind of what Panini is doing with their blockchain, right?
Yeah, and it's interesting that you mentioned the Panini thing, because I think they were the only ones, and this might be just dumb luck, but their NFTs were the only ones that were actually backed by cash, by US dollar. So there was no Ethereum or Bitcoin or anything attached to that. So value-wise, it might be a little bit more stable. I just don't know how well their marketplace does with them compared to like an OpenSea or a Gary V marketplace.
So even in that statement, Ruben is saying like, no, like, and that's the same thing I'll be telling you guys. Like, I believe more in the long-term utility of an NFT than the image or the drawing.
But long-term utility, 100 years from now, Gary Vee's not going to be around. So where's
How did the Trump NFTs do?
They have plummeted.
They plummeted.
Yeah.
They've okay.
I don't necessarily.
I mean, and what does that tell you about like the life of NFTs? Like, and again, I think there was utility attached to that, but it was like very, very, very difficult.
There was
get,
like
right?
the contests attached to it. Yeah, the same idea as V, friends.
When I say utility, you guys are taking it like literal, as in like the utility of Gary V's NFT, the utility of the president's. I'm talking about the actual technology underneath the NFT.
I know you were talking about like the digital contract was a big thing.
Things that you can be able to do with the tech itself in the future, not necessarily Gary Vee 100 years from now. You're gonna be able to sit down with him and have dinner with him for 5 minutes. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that the digital contract of an NFT, the utility, whatever that person that is creating that UFT or NFT, whatever they're trying to accomplish, they'll be able to do with a smart contract. And
see, I think of utility, and I get what you're saying now, but I think of a utility, and I'm like, it has to be like either something physical attached to it, or some type of like event that is attached to it. But you're saying it's the tech, the NFT digital contract that is attached to it is where you see the value.
Plus the utility, whatever like I said, whoever's creating the NFT, whatever their utility is, great. But that contract that they're creating with whoever's buying their NFT and what they get back as a creator long term is what I like. This is the part that I'm trying to like let you guys know. Like that's the most important part that you should take from NFTs, is that if I'm a creator of an NFT, say I'm a music artist. I'm struggling to be this artist, but I have like 100 people that support me, like loyal fans. I create a song, and I give part ownership to people, like a small percentage if they buy my song through the NFT. They help support me by buying my NFT, and then they also get ownership. Say my song blows up one day, then they get a percentage of that. This is the kind of thing I'm talking about.
So they're essentially investing in an artist,
and you have that because it's on the blockchain, so it's like nobody can ever deny that you have a percentage. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a smarter way to do business.
No, I mean, I get it. I get
it. A physical contract.
Yeah, I get that. That could be beneficial for the people who support early on.
And for the artist that just needs money to like keep.
I think
music.
there's some definitely those are great aspects that could be used in the future. But I think what happened was it was just everybody and their grandmother was basically
again the JPEG thing.
Yeah,
like you're just making pictures, and you're thinking like people did become millionaires off of this, by the way. But that you're thinking long term.
But I still don't think that people. The people who are generally thinking of NFTs are not thinking about it in the way that you're thinking about it.
They're thinking about a JPEG.
They're thinking about a JPEG. They're all that is a picture of something.
That is the struggle when like obviously
it's like they almost need to be like called something else. They almost need to be like reintroduced as like something else because like the word NFT, people are like picture.
Yeah.
That's a picture.
This isn't like a direct comparison, but like it kind of reminds me of like I think the best case scenario here is like how things like 3D and VR got reintroduced to us later on when it's like you think of it like, oh, that's just something hokey and like it's a gimmick. That thing, then why would I want to watch a movie in 3D? Why would I want to play Virtual Boy VR? Like it's terrible, but it could be reintroduced maybe 20, 30 years where you get to refine it, figure it out, and it's like, okay, I kind of get what's going on.
Exactly.
You know?
But
VR has come along. I mean, remember,
I mean,
you said like the Nintendo VR.
Yeah,
Virtual Boy.
That was terrible.
It was terrible. It was like red.
Red.
Yeah.
It was red. There was nothing virtual about it.
No.
It was all one color.
And you had to like hunch over to do it, and like your back hurt.
There used to be a ride at Great America. You had to pay like $15.
And you look at Oculus now, and you're like, okay, look, like it's gotten better. Like,
But then there's
I mean,
also like a portion of the NFT people that are like, you just don't get it. It's kind of like people that drink IPAs, like you just don't get it.
There's
You know what I mean?
definitely I think a bit of gatekeeping. So I'm glad C-Rad's here.
and I'm sure there's some
IPA
people that are like,
IPA
just not
is like-
smart enough to get it.
No, it's
I
not.
get it. I mean, if you're looking for something that
It's just
tastes like
hard
a
to
pine tree surprise, like
it's just very difficult to explain when the idea of it is so ingrained in people that it's just one thing.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? So it's not that it's not like I want to keep saying you guys just don't get it, but it's also like it's hard to get people out from like you
It's
said
hard
out of
to
that,
educate
out of that
somebody
idea.
without like spending
Diving
hours.
again,
Hours,
I think
yeah.
it got too big too quick.
Yep.
You're
and
right.
everybody had their own opinions, and they were just a lot of the loudest people in the room are the people who are like people are going to take their word, right? They're just like, that's stupid, like don't invest in that, it's worthless.
Well, and it
It's a
became-
domino effect, right? Like people who
Yeah.
are like, oh, that's kind of cool. Okay, this person told me like it's dumb. I'm out of it.
Yeah, and there could be like an issue of trust. There's like a lot of people like maybe older than us sitting here that are like, I don't trust any
And I
of
think
this stuff,
I think we
you
saw
know?
what happened with like the Bored Apes and stuff like that, where it was just like, I mean, it could have been a Ponzi scheme. I
It
don't know.
almost
like,
certainly was
yeah.
a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then you got the guy from FTX too to throw. I mean, not that that's
Right.
an NFTs. That's not an NFT.
I mean,
but,
it
like,
goes digital
it's still
assets, crypto. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, wait, this guy just made literally magic beans, and now
Again, my biggest concern always with this stuff has been like when you invest, and I'm not the biggest econ guy, but like when you invest in the stock market, Walmart's stock tanks. Well, there's still a Walmart store down the street. Like it still exists. Whereas for now, but nonetheless,
because it does happen. Like
Yes,
I think,
of course,
I think
places
Bed Bath
close.
and Beyond is like going out. Like
Right.
they're gonna be like you're not gonna be able to see them anymore.
places closed.
Like,
I get it.
like Toys R Us. Like Toys R Us is gone.
right.
Like,
But
it
nonetheless, but places, but it's,
I wish
but
it
I
was
feel like
never
it's
gone. I love that.
It's
story.
yeah, you're right. But it's easier for like, but when there's something physically there, it feels like there's still that like it could rebound. It could
Yeah.
it could
Sure,
work. Whereas once something's gone from crypto or it's gone. It's there's nothing there.
I think the important part I want to point out again, just to reiterate on Ruben's statement. So he's saying utility. Like, so he still, again, he still believes in the tech that you can add value by doing it, but it has to be something like actually like worthwhile. You know what I'm saying? The fact that he even mentions that, because he could have just came out and said, yeah, we find there's no more value at all
right.
in this stuff, and we're just gonna move on.
I mean, there's still value.
Investors don't like that
There's
phrase.
still value in cassette tapes too, but
They're coming back. They're actually
nobody's gonna
coming
say,
back.
hey,
though.
don't buy a cassette anymore.
People are rocking the cassettes again.
It's cool to be retro.
Yeah.
It's always cool to be retro, man.
I mean, it's crazy. The one thing it didn't 8-tracks like didn't really come back. That tech really, and I actually thought that
Betamax.
8-track the tech was actually better than a cassette tape.
Is it as good as CD?
You could only have.
It's like a CD, but in a tape. Like you put it in there, and you could actually hit. There's 8 tracks, right? There's 8 songs, and you just hit the button to go to each
Well,
one.
that's
You don't
like-
have to like fast forward and rewind and stuff
Right.
like that.
Well, that's like what Laserdisc was
That-
better than VHS, but
well,
what
8
other
tracks
ones are
weren't
good?
enough, man.
8 tracks
That
was
the
like the
problem.
natural
To
evolution.
be honest, how many artists come out where they put out their best stuff on the full 12-track album?
Not many.
There probably 8 was probably more than they needed. They probably could have gone with
6.
4-track.
Look, I haven't listened. A lot of albums I listened to this year were like 10 tracks. I got a good 10 tracks out of it, so I think that's a good number.
They're
10
not,
is a good
but
number.
they're not all like.
I don't know if it's a banger, but
They're not all bangers.
They're not all bangers.
They're not all
I
bangers.
assume with an 8-track, and I don't know this, that there had to have been a length. You couldn't have like a 50-minute one song, and then you know what I mean. It probably was like a like you had to. It had to be a certain amount of time, right?
No, I think you could. As long, I mean, it was.
No, because it was still a cassette inside there, right?
There's still a cassette.
So it'd probably like a limit of like a 10-minute song, right? Like you couldn't have an hour on
You can-
one song,
I don't-
and another hour on another.
I don't know. I don't know if it was programmed on the 8-track
Some of those
itself
songs back
or.
then were pretty long, actually, compared to songs now, right? the idea now with music is that you want to keep your music shorter
2 or
because
3
people's
minutes, yeah.
attention spans are shorter, and to get the
We're
streaming.
gonna get to the
numbers.
point where we're gonna have 15 minutes, 15
literally,
15 second
all pop
songs.
songs are like 2.5 minutes now. Dude.
I mean, most
they've been like that for a while. I
But
mean,
I was
but I
gonna
think
say-
I think we might be shrinking it down. Like,
I think at the times of like peak AM radio, like they're like, we need a 3 minute, 2.5 minute to 3 minute song. I mean, and we're talking also like, hey, like the Ramones. I don't know a single Ramones song that's over like 2 minutes. Like
Bro,
basically, like every punk rock song is like,
Okay, so-
oh, it's
I
a
mean,
it's a 17 albums, 17 song album that's 27 minutes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so now that's rock.
this?
But let me, like Doug probably knows with rap music. So it went from rappers having 3 verses of 16 bars, right? Every rap song back in the days had to have 3 full verses of 16 lines.
Yep.
Now
4 choruses. or-
rappers are
Sure.
barely doing one. This is the
One-
difference. One verse,
one verse.
and then 2 hooks, and then the song's done. That's where we're at with rap
a lot
music
less
now.
work, man.
And now with rap music, actually, they want to do like
That-
25 sons on an album.
That may not even be 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, maybe we are getting to like a minute 45.
Well, but you,
I don't know how it is in rock music.
How
but
many
rap
Well, I
artists-
mean,
That's what it's,
rock. You still have like. I mean, I would say
2 verses.
I
and a
would
bridge.
say
a
say
bridge.
3 minutes, maybe a little bit over 3 minutes is that sweet spot because
Intro, verse.
you got that intro, verse, chorus,
Bridge. chorus.
You can throw in a solo over that bridge if you want, and maybe you reintroduce the intro and do an outro. I think we just wrote a song, guys.
So you guys, so rock music hasn't come as hasn't been.
No, but you
cut as
gotta
much as
you
rap
gotta
music.
think that like some of these artists, and maybe not so much in rock, but definitely hip hop and pop is like TikTok. How did we make this on TikTok?
Well, I think
how do we
with
how do we
hip-hop-
talk about something that people are going to use on
I think
TikTok?
with hip hop, it's being like it's quantity. It's about quantity, right? It's about getting as much
Well, the stream numbers. It's all about the stream
content
numbers.
out there as possible.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
trying to turn it over as quick as possible.
Yep.
So you're current with what you're talking about.
Yep.
Look, I'm going to zig when everyone's zagging. I'm bringing back freeform jazz. I think there's an audience for it. 75-minute songs.
All I
40 different
you like
solos.
fish, don't you?
I actually don't like fish
Oh,
at all. I'm not a fish head.
Can't do fish.
No,
can't
do it.
I can
What is
eat
a-
fish,
what is
but
a
I can't listen to
fish?
fish.
I
Fish is a
tried.
group.
It's
It's
PHIS.
Fish is a
Oh,
band
okay.
that you
Yeah,
go and you hang out for 3.5 hours and they play
2 songs.
I can't.
one song.
Look,
just
man,
one long.
I
Giant,
can't tell you about fish. You have to just experience it. Okay?
Nah.
You just gotta experience it.
Uh-uh.
Yeah, I'm not.
Good. I mean, I probably would do the same thing like at a Doors concert too. To be honest, I know that might be blasphemous for some of you guys, but like the same thing. It's just
Oh, no,
the
there's a good
jamming.
amount of
The
people.
jamming is just no.
The door. No, I mean you get the always the keyboard interludes. I mean I don't know. The Doors have their place for sure. I are you comparing the Doors to Fish?
Yes.
I was gonna say, see now the comparison is Grateful Dead. Now that's the one where
That's another jam band.
No,
Yeah, definitely Jam.
Fish and Grateful Dead. I can see the comparison there.
one in
Yeah.
the yeah
Yeah.
yeah exactly.
So
Not
Bill-
one in the same, but close.
Bill Walton likes both of them, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's a
Well,
fan.
definitely a Deadhead. You know.
Yeah, he's for sure. Well, let's get into the year-end grading report, Cody. Let's get into some cards
Wait.
talk.
Wait,
we
talk
went
about-
off the rails this podcast.
Wow.
a lot.
We talk about cards on this show.
I know. Is this a card podcast?
Actually, I feel the last like 4 or 5 episodes we've gone on to these like kind of ridiculous rants. I think there might have been one last week.
Wouldn't happen
but-
any other way.
Oh yeah.
Oh, here we go, dead air now.
Wait, I was
Come
like,
on,
wait,
Frank.
You want me? Am I talking about the
That-
ratings here?
yeah,
So
you know-
yeah, all right, fair enough. All right,
it's
yeah.
all interconnected
So great report. Sports Collectors Daily did a little roundup. So thanks to them. But we went over to gemrate.com to look at the year in grading, and what it showed is that, look, a couple years ago when I actually first started here, we did a little video about PSA versus BGS. And so it was locked in my mind, like, those are the two. When you talk about grading services, it's Beckett, it's PSA. And it kind of has always felt like that. This year, that changed. PSA, still number one. In fact, not only number one, they own 75% of the market share when it comes to grading. Number two is SGC, which I think has... I think they did some great marketing when it came to, while everyone else was either staying at the same price or was saying it's going to take a long time. I think they took advantage of that backlog.
And they had the Mickey Mantle.
Yeah, and the mantle, of course, cannot be discredited.
And they're home of the tuxedo, correct?
They're home of that tux.
Okay.
They're home of that nice looking black and
I
white.
always try to like. There's so many like 3-letter acronyms in the grading game that I just kind of get them all mixed up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it can be easy to get. Yeah, I actually always get confused. CSG and CGC are the same thing.
100%.
Yeah, they're the same thing.
No idea.
But they are number 3. If you're looking at the graphic, if you're watching it, they graded 556,000 cards as. But that data from January, February is unavailable. But that actually does not include the data from CGC, which is their offshoot that only deals with gaming cards. And what happened was PSA is still number 1 when it comes to gaming cards, but number 2 is clearly CGC. They have become for gaming,
right.
For Pokemon and Magic, all that stuff. And Beckett is now, because of that, basically in 4th place. I think there's also, though, from everything I was gathering, is Beckett almost seems to see itself as like, we are still almost like the high end. Like, you come to us as sort of like, we have the prestige, we're the boutique shop of the grading services. No. Is that the correct strategy? I'm not so sure.
You're 100% correct.
I honestly feel like their slab is the worst out of the 4 now too.
I don't look.
Honestly, I mean, there's one sitting in front of
you.
You
have. I mean, dude,
it's thick. It's the same. It's different
same.
colors.
What do you
changed.
Want? No, it's a good
looking
card. It is the best looking slab.
Cody, you were here when we did the PSA versus VGS thing, right?
Yeah.
And I was the narrator.
The ref, yeah.
Yeah.
But clearly PSA dominated that, and we see it in the stats.
I mean, I didn't even say that.
4th best. I think this slab. I mean, I think I still prefer the.
If they're not the 4, I mean, they're still okay. I'll be honest, it's still 2nd for me. But why are the numbers this bad? What happened?
I think
they're turning down business.
I think it's the mantle thing. I don't think the mantle thing was a huge part of it. I mean, yes, it definitely got people's attention, but I think it was simply there was a backlog at both of these places from 2021, and I think it bled into 2022, where a lot of newer collectors too from 2020 and 21 were like, well, I need to get these cards graded now. SGC's way cheaper. They don't have a backlog. Yep. I'll just go to them. And they also, of these other ones we mentioned, CSG, CGC, there's also HGA. They're not on here, but other ones that have,
BBC.
Sure, BBC, ABC, WFAN, all these things. But
BBW.
SGC was the one of those like other ones that had a reputation in the hobby. Yes. A good reputation.
Great job, Cody.
Thank you. Tried to I was like
you're
dodging mines.
Yeah, you were truly fighting through adversity there, and you stayed on course. That was a great job. I think it had to do with the fact that what you were talking about with the backlog. I agree with that. I think I gotta dodge. I gotta stay on course here. I think PSA, even though they were backlogged, they still were putting money into their infrastructure and trying to get ahead of the backlog. I feel Beckett
was like,
didn't put the resources forward, and we're like, it'll take care of itself, and it will. It will take care of itself by them losing market share. At some point, like, their backlog will go away, but it may be too late. So I don't know. I mean, I still am a Beckett fan. I will always be a Beckett fan. I love their slab. I think it's the best slab. I think it looks the best. Sorry, Doug. I know you're going to sit there and go PSA.
No, I mean, I haven't been a big fan of PSA either because of the fact of the overcharges. That's why, I just used SGC and it was a smooth transaction. Sent in some Tupac and Biggie rookie cards, and I think I sent in 22 cards, and it was $20 a card. And I got it back in 5 to 10. I think it was like 6 business days.
And you got
know what I mean? It was really smooth.
But you think that your opinion is skewed because you did get some good grades back.
Not really. I got 2 10s on the 2 box.
But you got 5 10s on the biggies.
Yeah.
You got some good. Got some
decent grades.
Got some good grades.
No, I actually don't. I do care about grades, but like I think the fact that the website was easy to use, they got me the cards fast. The price was decent. There was no overcharging. Like now, I mean, I don't even know if I'll grade PSA if I have a card that's like over $5,000 because it's like the amount of money you got to pay for that is just like. We got burned on the LeBron. It was they claim it was a $35,000 card, and so we had to pay $2,000 for it to be graded, and that's what sticks with me. Is that and now it's an $18,000 and $19,000 card. So it's like, well, can I get my money back now that it went down?
It's like they take, and we talked about it a million times. It's like they take their rake based on if you're gonna sell it. Like even though you may not sell it. They're like, we got to take our money, and that has
you can't be transparent.
They have to change that, right?
Yeah,
that has to. That has to change at some point.
That feels like a.
Let's just say, hypothetically, and we're running close on time, so we got to get to the football segment again. But let's just say hypothetically, we have just a terrible 2023. Like we lose, like the market share is just down. Like nobody's grading, no cards being made. Like Fanatics thinks about selling the business. What's going to stop that? Like, say their investors are like, wait, the revenue's bad. Right? Revenue's bad, PSA. What are we going to do? So now they get a card that's like 9, but if they make it a 10, they get an extra $1,000 for the customer. That's how you generate revenue, and that's where it's not transparency for me. There's no transparency there. If you could bump up a grade to make it extra money for your company.
Or people could just not put as much value on graded cards.
True, and that might happen.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time, not too long ago, where people would have no problem with buying raw cards.
Yep.
It does. There is a feeling of though, like you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube here. Like now it's there, and now there's so many other companies that are vying for your attention when it comes to grading that maybe it does happen one day, but I have a hard time seeing it going.
Difficult action for sure.
That's the
toothpaste.
I was going to say that's a good analogy. We were talking about analogies earlier today. I like that one. I was trying to picture that.
The wheels were turning. I was like, okay, let's see if I can figure out how to put the toothpaste back in the tube here.
Especially if you had
you could get a very small funnel. I mean, you could do it.
You could do it, but you're like, how did it?
Why would you?
What happened? Yeah. Like, why is it out of the tube?
Especially if you already had it in your mouth to get it back into the tube. That would be almost impossible.
Disgusting.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say it does feel like that's a real sticking point for a lot of people about the overcharge with PSA. But these numbers are shocking. 75% of grading go to PSA.
Yeah, it was 70. I know you can't see that. Well, you might have it up there.
Market share of 70% is
7.4 million cards graded last year for PSA. 569,000 with Beckett.
It's shocking how low Beckett is, even compared to these other companies, SGC and
I do want to mention for Beckett, that number does come. For some reason, their numbers were not available in July. For I don't know why.
The national?
Maybe January and February also, but still, that's a lot of ground they would have had to make up in those 3 months. Which
I doubt that those months would make a difference in the numbers. I will just say one thing. I like CSG. Ever since they changed the labeling where it was too tall before, like it was like took up like a fourth of the card real estate or the slab real estate. Ever since they changed their nameplate or the tag or whatever, I think their slabs are actually.
You know what? Something about theirs is their plastic looks better.
It looks better.
Like the Beckett plastic looks like not good.
Yeah, like in hand,
it's good plastic.
It really feels premium. Their slab CSG. And like a lot of people probably don't know what I'm talking about because a lot of people don't grade as much with CSG, but yeah, I really do love their slab.
Based on the trends, I think
like a premium slab.
It's a very nice slab. Based on the trends, I think CSG, CGC, that could end up being number 2 by the end of the year, almost purely based on gaming, which, by the way, in that same article on Sports Collectors Daily, they pointed out that a majority, and pretty sizable majority of cards graded in 2022 were gaming cards.
Yeah.
Sports cards were pretty distant, not distant second, but they were second place.
And if we're talking about just aesthetics of the nameplate, like obviously I like BGS too. That's my favorite, like with the subgrades and all that. I don't like PSA's.
The one
they call this?
The
top part,
the label,
tag, the label. I don't like PSA's label. I don't like SGC's
printer.
label. I do like CSG's label, and obviously I prefer Beckett's label still over all.
I think Beckett's label with their printing on it looks the nicest by far.
But if it's
I think
the white label, it's
I think
terrible.
PSA the way the characters are on there, it looks old. It
Well,
looks
tried to
dated.
keep it. They tried to keep it, the same since they didn't want too much
I
disparity.
know they printed them up originally on dot matrix, and you got to make them the same. You got to make them the same. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it looks, the characters on it, like the slab looks fine. I think the label with I think the label with PSA is.
But at least their label's the same color. That's what kills me about BGS. Is like you're paying the same amount, and they're going to give you that white label if you have a
that white
sucking
label is
card.
terrible.
And it's silver if you're in second place.
Yeah,
and
that
then-
white label is terrible.
Yeah, I mean, nobody likes that.
Yeah,
and that's 8 and below, right?
8 and below.
8 and below.
But I mean, if you're into like when you categorize them and color code them, you can actually do it.
That's true.
Based on the color.
That's true.
True.
You can't necessarily do that with PSA. I mean, you could do it with like the grade itself, but it's so much easier to do it with Beckett because they have the different coloring systems.
You would think maybe not. Maybe like what Doug's saying, like they just want to keep it traditional. But I don't know. In our lifetime, I think PSA is gonna eventually like modernize their label.
Or maybe their slab and make it a little bit better. You know whose slab actually looks good, but I wouldn't grade with them yet is the tag grading. It's like a acrylic see-through, but you can read. It looks pretty good. But brand new company. I'm going to wait, have some more info before I
CSG. That's the
grade
company I'm
with them.
staking in the future.
But buy or sell NFL playoff edition, Cody. I actually like these subjects here. I think you got a good mix here.
Yeah, try to keep it a little different with not the typical guys. I didn't include Brock Purdy because we
One and done.
This has become the Brock Purdy hour over the last five weeks. So try to keep it away from him. But let's start off.
I'm exhausted.
Yeah, it's hey, but. Be prepared to be more exhausted. This is going to go all the way.
One and done.
Anyway,
One and done.
Here we go. Buy or sell. These are 4 guys that I think are sort of on the bubble right now for a lot of guys in the hobby, a lot of folks in the hobby. Daniel Jones is our first guy. In the playoffs, I think down the stretch, last 5 games, 1,040 yards, 5 touchdowns, and only 1 pick. He was good.
Is Saquon going to be back this weekend?
That I don't know. Which is maybe going to play a big part in how we feel
They
about
don't win that
him
game
and his
without
cards.
Saquon, by the way.
And they're playing
the
Minnesota.
Vikings, so it kind of feels like a toss-up game, honestly, to me. I think the Giants could sneak away with a win in there, but Danny Dimes, he's finally his cards are finally selling. I noticed a lot of his high-end stuff has sold recently. I think actually you could track it like the day after they made the playoffs. A lot of his high-end stuff finally sold. The card we got pictured here is one of his most recent purchases on January 1st. A dual logo patch auto from 2019 Flawless rookie auto. BGS 910 sold on January. I meant to say January 5th for $5,749. His high-end stuff is selling. Are you buying or selling?
$5,000 too much. Congrats to the person that held on to it for that long to be able to cash out at that height, because this is the peak. Sell. 100%.
I am 100% selling. I think even if they do win and they do upset Minnesota, he's not going to have a huge stat line. That just doesn't have the weapons to throw the ball to. So I am 100% selling on Danny Dimes.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with the guys. We always talk about every single year when's like the best buying selling opportunity in terms of like playoff football with quarterbacks and stuff. And when a guy makes it like this into the playoffs, that is the perfect time to sell it, right? If you've been holding on to him for all these years. So especially you consider that, you look at that team we just talked about it, like how far are they gonna make it? That you got to ask yourself that.
Yeah, I mean, they might be able to beat the Vikings, but then they're going to have to go against the Eagles.
Let's say hypothetically the Giants do make it to the Super Bowl. Hypothetically, how much more does this card go up?
Not much more.
I actually doesn't. I don't think it really goes up.
No, I can't believe it sold for that much. I'm like shocked
Yeah.
that it sold for that much. I mean, it is.
It's 1-1.
I mean, we were having a conversation. Everybody was having a conversation beginning of the year. It's like Danny Dimes is probably not the guy.
I'm still not convinced that, like, I know he played well and he probably will be back, but like I still think the Giants can do better than Daniel.
Well, here's a question. Same rookie class. Would you rather have him or Kyler at this point?
Ooh, that's a tough.
I love Kyler.
I think it's still good.
I love Kyler.
I mean, Kyler is like just. I was high on him, and I've lost a lot of money.
That's tough. Yeah, that's a tough call at this point. But
lost a lot of money on Kyler.
Yeah. Tough one.
Or Will Greer. Would you rather have Will Greer?
Oh God.
Well, I think Will Greer is at least a 4-time better investment
Than
Kyler Murray.
Oh,
no. Oh, it's a Doug card.
I just knocked myself on the floor.
We just dinged
yeah,
out a
a
couple
slight
of
edge to
points.
Kyler's though. Slight edge to Kyler.
Yeah, I think so too.
But Danny Dimes has played
I don't think it's
some of his best football this year.
the Raiders are like, okay, we could have Danny Dimes next year or Kyler Murray. You're like, let me think about it. I'm leaning towards Kyler Murray.
Yeah, because
I'm like, bring him down.
I know we joke about it, but like, man, Mr. Call of Duty himself, like, I don't know.
I know. He hasn't
Is he
shown
gonna-
a whole
is he gonna
lot. He
help
hasn't
us
been able
win
to
in
play
the
a whole
winter?
season.
I don't
He's-
know.
You could make the argument Daniel Jones with a guy like Devontae Adams. Maybe he finally is able to.
He's a short king. I mean, not Daniel Jones, but
All right, next card is Jamar Chase. Next player, I should say, Jamar Chase, who was out for a good amount of time this year. In total, with the canceled game and games he missed due to injury, he missed 5 games and still had more receptions than he did a year ago.
Wow.
And the stat line is still impressive. 1,046 yards and 9 touchdowns in just 12 games. He had kind of a slow end to the season, but Bengals look just as good as any team. His NT RPA number to 49 here, last sold on November 30th for $1,050. I know wide receivers are kind of a tough one, but Jamar Chase was selling pretty high at his peak. Buying or selling on Jamar?
oh man, I almost want to say hold on this one. I think that's the right price for now. I mean, it's a matter of would you want? Do you think he's better than Justin Jefferson? I think Justin Jefferson is the peak right now, in terms of wide receivers. I'd hold with a lean towards sell.
I'm selling wide receiver. I do like Jamar Chase, but over $1,000 for that card.
It is an RPA though.
It's an RPA.
It's the best card.
I'm selling. It is crazy, like how many number one, like receivers that are still like in the playoffs. Like actually, the blueprint is if you don't have a number one receiver.
Well, the Giants.
They're the only team.
Yeah.
The Giants and
they have Saquon Barkley.
The Giants and the Jags, and then you can make an argument with Kansas City, but they have Patrick Mahomes.
But the Jags,
Kelsey's basically a number one receiver.
Yeah, but you have like the Niners have Debo, the Vikings have Jefferson.
well, we have two number one. You have Ayuk, too.
Ayuk is not a number one.
1,000 yards receiving this season.
1,000. Congrats,
George Kittle. Don't forget George Kittle.
Congrats. You know, never mind.
Christian McCaffrey.
Just go. Just go.
Oh yeah, that's right. CMC too.
I don't need Niner homers just like naming off their whole 53-man roster.
I mean, I give
Like our long snapper, this guy he's everything he does.
Shout out Tabor Pepper.
Yeah, Tabor Pepper got robbed of the All-Pro Players team. Just saying.
Dude, you guys.
Jamar-
Who cares who your long snapper is?
I'll probably buy because like we just talked about with Danny Dimes and like how far will the Giants make it. this guy could go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl this year with his team. So
Yep.
At that price, with the true RPA at $1,000, I say I'll buy.
I would invest in the guy who's throwing him the ball.
Yeah.
Of course, but he's
5, 7,
Burrow's
8
probably
times
10x.
more.
This guy,
Yeah, he's a little tough to. Yeah.
he's probably 10x.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to say buy on Burrow.
You know, I mean,
if money's
Go-
not an object, of course.
go big or go home. Scared
Well,
money don't make money.
this-
Is what I've heard once.
He has the potential to be the star of the playoffs. He has the potential, if they make it to the Super Bowl, to be the star of the Super Bowl. So, I think right now is a fair price to buy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually. Well, now that I look at the next price, I'm like, maybe the Jamar Chase is a heck of a deal.
Yeah. Next price.
I don't understand the next one.
This is.
I was like, I don't even know who that is.
Yeah.
But now I do.
Travis Etienne, same price that it sold for. Actually, I may have gotten it wrong here, but it did sell for about $1,000. I'm looking at it now and I'm like, wait a minute, the slide is exactly the same.
You
as the
might
last
have
slide.
duplicated the slide.
Nonetheless,
there.
it did sell for around the same price, just a little over $1,000
Okay.
for a number to 10.
Number to 10.
Number 210.
different.
Actually, I think I got
Gold.
the price.
and it's Gem 10, so it's probably going to be a pop one.
Yes, yeah. Hollow Gold, number to 10, RPA,
Okay.
PSA 10 of
Okay.
Travis Etienne, who was 9th in the league in rushing yards, 1,125.
Really? He had that much?
He
huh?
had that much. He was
And
pretty
he was
good this
injured.
year. He was injured this year, but between
beginning of
weeks,
the year.
he had a bad week 18 performance against the Titans. But before that, his previous 3 games, averaged 98 rushing yards and almost 6 yards a carry. I know they have Joey Bosa back, but the Chargers' rush defense was not very good this year. Bosa changes that.
Second best Bosa.
Where are we at with a running back, Travis Etienne, and the Jacksonville Jaguars?
That is $1,000 and $25. $1,025 too high. So absolutely, if you can get $1,000 out of that card, sell it now.
I mean, I would sell it and buy a Jamar Chase.
You know,
If I-
if it's the exact same price, yeah.
I mean, same
But you know
thing,
what's funny
right?
is you look at those 2 cards though, is the connection of their quarterback in college is on both of those players, Chase and Etienne, both stars at LSU and Clemson, respectively. So I mean, there is some longevity in that. That is a proven theory of grabbing a guy and grabbing one of his skill players later or the next year.
I will say for his argument that, look, maybe don't buy that card, but like if you want to buy something on the lower end and he pops off and has a big game this weekend, I think there's a really, like, if you want to play the flip game, I don't think it's
do
a
we
bad one.
really think the Jags have a run in them? The Jags probably don't play another game after this week,
They've been
right?
looking really good. Look, and I know it's against the Bolts.
But the Bolts have to travel, though.
They have to travel, and I don't know. I'm not going to put it past them to have a winner here.
This may be a stupid question, but do you guys know what Duval means?
It's the county.
It's a
They
beer.
play in Duval County, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you're saying I need to get a Santa Clara County chant going out there in
Yeah.
Santa
It is not in reference to actor Robert Duvall
Or the drink.
or
the
Duval or the beer or a former Giant and Brave
Great beer.
Adam Duvall.
a Belgian
not
beer.
Adam Duval.
Duval County.
Okay.
Not-
I'm
Duval
sorry, I
County.
didn't know that. I don't-
Trust me, I had to Google it one night when I was like, why is everyone going Duval? What is this? What are we doing here? Why does everyone really like
I
Jaws
haven't watched too many
Yeah.
Jacksonville home games.
Yeah, I mean, but
Excuse me, not
that
Jaws, but
that is the only team that screams out their county's name, right?
Yeah, it's gotta be.
Yeah.
Gotta be.
Is it just so you know where their county is?
Yeah,
there?
it's a little strange. All right, final one. Oh,
terrible
hey,
chance
look who we're
stadiums.
talking about for the final card. It's my old buddy, Justin Herbert.
One of us might have pulled that card. Actually.
Yeah, it's the ticket stub contenders, number to 10. It's a BGS 9.510. The last sold on January 10th for $8,886. Justin Herbert was second in the league in passing yards this year. His last 7 games, he had 9 touchdowns and just 3 picks. Yes, the Chargers kind of, I don't want to say backed into the playoffs, but kind of quietly made the playoffs, which, considering their history and their franchise history, is kind of remarkable that they quietly made the playoffs. So buying or selling on Justin Herbert?
Ooh.
Oh, there's a lot of money on that one.
is.
I am buying. I like to buy him and Burrow. I think at this point, I think the prices are a little bit lower than their rookie years, and I think they're both poised for great careers.
Didn't check Burrow, but I got to imagine he's significantly, maybe not significantly higher, but he's certainly higher.
I am
than
sidetracked by thinking that we pulled this card.
I'm buying, and it's crazy that he was second in the league in passing, and how many games did Mike Evans and Keenan Allen miss?
A lot.
Mike Evans.
Mike
That's why they
Mike
lost.
Williams.
He
I was
threw
like,
for a
wait a
lot,
second.
but they lost a lot of games because they didn't have those guys.
Yeah,
There
I mean,
was garbage time yards for sure. There were garbage time yards there.
and Andy has Eckler out of the backfield who
Had a great
had
season.
a lot of receiving yards. Gerald Everett, big target, tight end, athletic, former Ram. Yeah, I like Herbert. I mean, not as much as you like him, but I like him.
God, see, this was my plan all season long. Here we are. It's first week of the playoffs, Super Wildcard weekend, and we're all on the Sherbert train. Other than C, right?
wait,
Other than
wait.
C, right?
Wait.
You haven't changed?
Before,
Well, who would you rather have if you had to pick the two? Herbert or Mahomes to win the Super Bowl this year?
I think
Oh, if he had to pick one,
I think
Yeah.
Conrad is still going to rank his AFC West quarterbacks top to bottom.
Jarrett
Yeah.
Stidham.
And I think, and Herbert's probably gonna be last.
All right, I want to hear it. Yeah, you're.
No, I'm serious. If
you're
you had to pick between Herbert and to win Mahomes to win the Super Bowl this year, like if you only given two choices,
Mahomes.
would rather have Mahomes.
Yeah.
I think we could all. Well, Mahomes is better.
Well, yes.
Okay, I'm gonna give Chargers a little bit of credit. They have looked a lot better, and despite their inept coach, like Justin Herbert has been carrying that team, and he is the reason they're in the playoffs. I'll give him that.
he's good.
Yeah, they're not a playoff team with Chase Daniels.
I'm still
No.
I'm still selling. Sell Sherbert all day. And yeah, he's probably still fourth for the AFC West.
Below Russell Wilson.
Yes.
In Stidham or Carr or
Stidham.
Well, his car's number one still.
Still.
Can we do
and
the
then
Stidham number two?
Can we check back in if Russell Wilson's a Hall of Famer? Can we check back? Well, there's like
Yes.
a monthly check-in.
Yes, he's still a Hall of Famer.
Geno Smith just broke all of his Seahawks records.
It took a hit.
Being at
with
that
an
game,
extra week, mind you.
True, but being at that game and hearing that multiple times, I was like looking around, going like, are people messing with me right now? They're just like, they're all your single season passing record holder Geno Smith, and I'm like, what the? And then he throws a touchdown, and they're all breaks the all-time record for passing touchdowns in a Seahawks regular season. I'm like, what was Russell Wilson doing here?
The man is about to get paid this offseason. Good Lord.
From Seattle?
I don't know if it's Seattle. I don't know. You know what would be the
Yeah,
funniest outcome?
probably.
Here's the funniest outcome.
you know who ends
the
up-
New York Jets
You know who
end up with
You
him.
know who becomes the quarterback for the Seahawks next year? Baker Mayfield.
That actually kind of makes sense. It
Baker
makes sense.
Mayfield.
The guy that single-handedly knocked out the Rams, the Panthers, and the Lions.
Yeah.
He knocked out 3 playoff teams this year.
Baker put some good footage on tape. There's
One game. Yeah, one game.
Not one game. I mean the Raider game.
The Christmas game where
Yeah, that's the one game.
The Christmas game where he put up 51. Have the Niners put up 51 this year?
Who are you guys playing?
We were playing Denver.
Well,
Denver's defense is good.
pretty good.
I remember that game between Denver and San Fran where it went down to the wire.
Yeah, and who
it
won?
was it was the punt bowl.
Look,
won?
that was a
Who
long
won?
time.
Long time
That was
ago.
a punt
won?
bowl.
Brock Purdy wasn't playing.
I mean, you talk. The Rams put up 51, and you guys lost.
That's
you
when
guys, I mean, you guys.
That's when we
lost
stepped
against-
out of the back of our own.
You guys lost against what teams now?
That was tough.
The Chiefs. Yeah,
Bears.
Chiefs. I get that.
That's a real
the
one.
Bears.
The Bears,
The Bears,
The-
and the Broncos.
the Broncos,
Broncos.
and the Falcons.
And the Falcons.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's one of those situations again. Like it.
And the Seahawks.
No.
No, it's going. I mean, you guys underperform
no.
against teams that you should
anything-
beat.
If anything, I think Seahawks will keep it close. Yeah.
Well,
Well, on that note, thank you guys for tuning in to the hype.
Might be
Stay
a-
tuned
It
next
might be
week
a punt bowl.
when I'm celebrating another win, and these guys are crying about it, figuring out how Minnesota is going to beat the Niners this week because Kirk Cousins is all of a sudden Joe Montana or something. Stay tuned for
Would
that.
never
next
compare
week.
him to Joe Montana, but I would.
Next week you will, because you're going to look for.
Well, I
reasons
mean,
why.
no. I mean, I will.
Justin Jefferson's going to be the greatest.
I will
receiver of
definitely
all
be
time.
rooting for the Vikings. I'm rooting for anybody who's going against the Niners. It could be like the Argonauts. I'd be like, go Argonauts.
You guys see that?
Connecticut
Speaking of,
organized.
before I let you guys go, the USFL commercials that they're really pumping in there during the games now. You think you're watching a game and you're like, "What's going on?"
Those
It's like-
are the cheapest, dinkiest commercials.
I know, but
where
they're like,
it's
you're like,
literally-
wait, whoa. You're like, you went
One
to go
of
get a
them-
beer, and you're like,
one of
what's
them-
going on? Oh, it's not even the real game. It's a commercial.
Sorry, I know we're wrapping up, but one of those was like a matchup between like a 2-7 team versus like a 4-5 team.
I have not seen these commercials.
And it's like some guy getting lit up on a kickoff,
Yeah.
and it's like
Yeah.
the USFL, and it's like that's the hook.
No, you're like, yeah. I was trying to say goodbye, but I'm not ready to say goodbye yet. But it was like you go, you know, it's a commercial, and you're like gonna go get a beer, and then you're like, oh, wait, the game's back on, and it's like, no, it's not even your team playing. It's like it jumps in the action like it's a game, and then the guy gets like smashed, and they're like USFL, and you're like, what did I just watching? You haven't seen this?
No, I watch.
They're on mostly at halftime. Yeah.
So I watch almost exclusively the Red Zone channel,
They-
No.
and they don't have
I'll be
commercials
on there.
unless the Rams are playing.
So you're telling me that the Burger King jingle is not just like haunting you in your dreams every night, which is a better way to be living.
BK.
You know it.
Actually, you know what? Because we've been doing the
Have
eBay.
it your way.
Everybody knows it.
You know, because we have the eBay live. I
don't pay.
eBay.
I don't pay attention to commercials.
Thank God.
I zone them out.
Now the only thing I have left to look forward to in this football season is the Super Bowl commercials. That's it.
So,
That's true.
I mean, you know
Oh,
what?
and flag football, Pro Bowl.
You know what? And Conrad could probably relate to this. I am just so glad football is over.
Yeah, can't wait till we get Aaron Rodgers next
Like
year.
I'm so glad that we don't have to go through every Sunday, and it was
Get-
just
get
it was
crapped on.
it was tough, man. It was tough. Feel
Yep.
sorry for us.
I know it's tough when you, you do win the Super Bowl, but then you have like literally the worst season in history after.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't good, Doug. It was. I didn't like it.
Yeah, like what happened to the Rams? What
I
happened
mean,
to the Rams?
but we were. I think we were 4-2, 3. We were in first place at one point.
At one
That's
point,
true.
yeah.
And we went over 2 months without winning a game.
That's stuff. All right, guys, that is it for the hype. Check out Mojobreak.com for your breaks of Spectra, National Treasures, hoops, and more. Check out Mojobreak Shop for your wax needs. Great deals always happening at MojobreakShop.com. And check out our eBay Live this Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific. Say what's up. Maybe say, hey, I heard it on the hype. And we'll give you a shout out on the show. And we'll see you guys next week on the hype. Peace.